Yeah, item 1.1. Welcome you all to the Community Board meeting here in Pāuanui. I do have an apology. The Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives an apology from Councillor Walker. I have a move in the second, please. Yeah. Okay. Gary. Public forum, 1.3. We have 3 speakers. You know of, Bob. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to kick off.
I'm speaking on item 2.3, basically on the basis of the land subdivision reserves and spending it on another $200,000 on a toilet and toilet. $650,000 was taken for the skate park, and another $200,000 has been taken for the toilet and this and toilet. This was never the intention of the legislation or central government. A recent comment from the Ombudsman: although development contributions represent a significant source of funds, their use as financial mechanism is not without risk, especially where assets are constructed and anticipated growth. Close monitoring of growth is essential, confirming that the timing and sale of these projects and resulting contribution remain appropriate. This was backed up by an example of a legal case by the developer, which they won. So basically, doing a subdivision in Pāuanui doesn't warrant spending all those contributions in another suburb. So when TC is saying we have no funding for a lot of community meetings, this level of expenditure, $475,000, is ridiculous. Our committee will consider lodging a regona requesting all financial records relating to collection of the funds and where they've been spent over the last 10 years. And that will determine where we go from there. Because as far as we're concerned, we have major issue with our wastewater treatment plant. Flooding in Holland Close has been deferred in the long-term plan for 4 years, even though it's been on the books for 15. And everything we requested as a ratepayers association in the network meetings has been cancelled. We haven't achieved anything. So, as far as we're concerned, this is an illegal expenditure, and you can put it down to the toilets and Tairua as well. Doing a subdivision in Pāuanui and collecting these funds doesn't warrant spending it somewhere else. And we will follow it up by putting it on the ground, asking TCDC to supply all those funds where they've been allocated over the last 10 to 15 years. And then depending on the results of that regona, we'll decide where we go with that.
I put my hand. You mentioned that. Gosh, it's got a funny note. I'll turn my camera off because you mentioned an ombudsman's report. Was that correct?
Yes.
I wonder if you could let me have a look at that.
Well, it was just the result of a comment that he made in relation to another case.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's just that it's. I'd be interested to see what it actually does say on that. That would be helpful.
Thank you, Bob. Anna, good morning to you.
Hello, everyone. I would just like to express my frustration with the long-term plan consultation process again. We've been sending in our first input to the draft in August last year, and then not much of it has been included in the draft. And I actually went through the effort of going through 460 plus pages of all the supporting documents, which led to a lot of questions. Got some answers, got some non-answers, and the final answers last Friday when the submission closes end of today. And that also includes a long Easter weekend. And yet if Council says we want the ratepayers to be involved, and send their opinion, who in their right mind is going to go through all those pages, even send in questions, and then be semi-ignored for answers? So luckily, we've got heaps of members. I've got my submission ready. Send it through to them today. But it is frustrating if we're asked to be talking to a community board and council to audit for input and then for feedback. It's frustrating. And I will also share that with the members in the process we went through. And the other thing I'd like to know, has the community board, have you sent in a submission to the long-term plans community board? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That was it. Thank you.
All right, Resident Lakefront, Annie?
Hi, it's me. Good morning, everybody, and this is in regard to the proposed toilets in Scotland, Great Auckland. Our position is that we would want the toilets that we've already got fixed up. Those are the ones that are located near the rugby club. And there's also a few other observations that have been made. It appears on the last long-term plan in terms of public conveniences list, there were 8 toilets identified for renewal. But that one I referred to, the rugby club, wasn't even on the list. So it appears that it hasn't even been in anybody's line of sight. But an example of the kind of costs that have been identified for renewal, one near our city club has been identified to require 249,000, 100,000 to renew that. So yes, there's a need for toilets, not new toilets near the skate park. Fix up what we already have.
Yeah. No other comment? Anything to say about that?
Just that people using the drain as a urinal doesn't sort of fit.
And our position remains the same. And due to the size of that problem, and then maybe with improved lighting, and
It's not just
not too hard to 100 metre, to go 100 metres down the toilet.
It's not the skateboard people, it's the cricketers and the tennis players and the netballers.
So they're making
Mostly guys.
So making the ones that we have available and improving them, I should make that more maybe okay in terms of the place to go to.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'll move that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives Bob's, Anna's and Annie's public forum. Can I have a seconder? Move the second, please. Okay, all in favour? Okay. Item 1.4, are there any items not on the agenda? There being none. Item 1.5. Oh, sorry, yeah, 1.5. Are there any conflicts of interest? None. 1.6. Minutes. Previous meeting information. Motion being the board receives the minutes for the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board meeting held on the 19th of February 2024. And move in a second, please.
Yep. Yes.
Are there any corrections or I see one here. I guess a spelling. The spelling of feature. There is spelling. Other than that, are there any other corrections required? If not, can I have a move in a second, please? No. All in favour?
Yeah.
Okay. Item 3.1, Waikato Regional Long-Term Plan. The Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the Waikato Regional Council Long-Term Plan 24-34. Are there any discussions to the motion?
We have Shan here to speak.
Yes, kia ora, Community Board members, Sian Smith, Principal Strategic Advisor here. I have turned my camera on, so but it's not showing on my screen. Just an information report for you to let you know that the Waikato Regional Council has published their consultation document for their long-term plan. Staff around the council have been reviewing it over the past week. It was just published on Tuesday last week on the 2nd of April. And we will be doing a report to the council meeting on the 30th of April with a potential draft council submission for that. There are some areas where we probably will be making a submission, but obviously that decision has not yet been made. So this is just for your information to let you know what's going on, and I am happy to answer any questions, although not much I can say about the detail of a potential submission at this stage because we're just still looking at it.
Anyone got any questions?
Get a chance to.
We've got a, Gary, you've got a, no? We've got a submission.
That was for the Waikato rating for.
Oh,
Yeah, look at a regional.
okay. So that's something we've yet to do?
No, you've already done it.
We've done it.
No, sorry, through the chair, that was the roading one, but this is the actual consultation document for the regional council, for their consultation.
Oh, I submitted one on my own.
What we're suggesting is we can do a networking session with the board, and if you feel there's some points that you want to add, we can do that. But it's up to the board to make that decision. I don't know if anyone's had a chance, you can have a look through the consultation document.
Well, the long-term plan was complicated, isn't it? Oh, come on. But, yeah, I did a submission.
Well, what we could do is we could potentially just print one out at lunchtime and just circulate that around and then have a discussion about whether the board wants a networking session on it. And if there's anything they want to put a submission to, do have a month.
You've been favoured, haven't you? Yeah, fine. Okay, thank you. Okay. Do I have a move on the second?
No, please.
Have a move on the second to receive the motion, please?
Yep.
Yeah, my favour? Aye. 2.1, the request to retain and repurpose the community grant of the Tairua Environmental Society. The motion from the board to the board is that we receive the request to retain and repurpose the community grant of the Tairua Environmental Society report dated 7th of March. And 2, approve or decline the request to retain and repurpose the grant of $1,500 to the Tairua Environmental Society to assist with the removal of weed species at the Karakia Bay. Can I have a mover and a second, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Second?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any discussion?
There's a graffiti not on the bridge anymore.
The graffiti bit.
Yeah, so there's health and safety issues with the graffiti. It had been cleaned off, but the Environment Society decided that they would rather try and get rid of the Elaeagnus that's down there, which is an invasive pest weed, instead.
The only question I had about that, they mentioned some private property, the access, this being broken, this society entering someone's private property to spray.
It's for on council land.
Well, there was a piece in there.
So we can make sure that we can make it very clear to them when we, if the board approve it, that we make it very clear that it is on council land, and they liaise with the Parks and Open Space team with that as well.
Seems like a lot of money for a bit of spraying.
It's removal as well. So they've got to get rid of it completely.
How big a problem is it down there?
We're down there with being grub and blue mackerel, and it is actually really quite invasive down there. Strangling all the native
Talk about
plants.
wilding pines, gorse and panthers. They just mentioned here that the bush on the private land, a little upstream, it's a seeding source, so they want to get into that. We need to, or council will need to
Yeah, so we'll make that very clear that if the board agree for them to retain, then it is council land and they must do the removals in conjunction with, or liaise with the Parks and Open Spaces team, which is what other community groups like Going Manaruk has. They clean off reserve areas in conjunction with the Parks and Open Spaces team.
So, any other discussion on that? Do we approve or decline?
Yes. My initial thought on reading it was that we should approve it because
About a community.
it's a community, yeah, I mean, it's going to benefit everybody, it's going to benefit users in the area. It's an area which does have some natural beauty. And if we don't approve this, and it means it can be done, we'll be a long way down the track. We've got a community group that are going to put in a fair bit of their own time and effort. So I'd be in support of it on that basis.
Okay. So we agree with section part 2. We approve the request to retain and repurpose the grant of $1,500 to the Tairua Environmental Society to assist with the removal of the weed species. All in favour?
Aye.
I'm against. Moving on. Imposed land covenant. It is a motion being that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receive the Redbridge Road proposed land covenant report dated 8th of March 2024 and recommends to Council that it agrees as a landowner of the land at 20 Redbridge Road, Tairua, to a land covenant being registered against its title SA 20A/322 with the terms of the covenant being to the satisfaction of legal counsel. Can I have a mover and a second?
You've got my thing.
Seconder?
I'll second it.
Gary? Right. Your discussions? You read it?
Gary might be able to answer this question, Mr. Chairman. How effective is it going to be? Because we've seen in other areas where people seem to have got their way around covenants and still made complaints, caused shutdowns. Is it possible to word the covenant so it's not going to be an ongoing problem?
Well, hopefully, yes, it can be. But of course, if you get someone who then becomes a new owner, but the point is, if the work's been done and it's there, that's the sooner it gets done, the better, and then the covenant's there. So that's the protection you have if you get it done. Not if it's still hovering in the air.
Again, the question I had was, how will this affect the right of the existing renters if they alter the types of business currently being conducted or changed in the future? Is there what would happen there?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the covenant is on the titles and it flows down. So any subsequent buyer of that land is made aware of it because it's on the face of the title. And the wording, one of the parts of the wording we're having is that they're not going to be able to object to anything that complies with the district plan. So at the moment, the district plan allows all those light industrial activities that are being undertaken. And should the district plan change at some date in the future, whether it be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, those then current activities that can be undertaken would still be protected.
Okay, thank you.
A little bit distrustful of the man that's asking for it. Offering, I think was the word, Chris.
It was an offer, not.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussions? So we're in favour of part 2, that we recommend to council to approve the funding. recommends to council that it agrees as the landowner of the land at 20 Wheatbridge Road prior to a land covenant being registered against its title. Are you all in favour?
Aye.
Any against? No? Carry. Yeah? Carry. Chris?
Yeah.
Thank you. 2.3. The Land Subdivision Reserve Funding Request, Cory Public Conveniences. The motion being that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the Land Subdivision Reserve Funding Request of Cory Public Convenience report dated 19th March 2024, and 2, recommends council to approve the funding of Cory Park Domain Public Convenience Project of up to 200,000 in the 24-25 financial year from the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board Area Land Subdivision Reserve Fund, subject to the funds being available following the audit. Can I have a mover and a second, please?
Move and second, open discussion, do we?
Yeah. Chris, was it?
Yeah. I'll move it.
Right.
Yes, Steve, now.
Yeah. Yes, it is now.
Okay.
Who would like to kick this off?
I'm struggling with the cost of it. I've been in the building trade for 50 odd years and find what 475,000, a little bit excessive for 3 days. Yeah, that's right out of line.
I'm in complete agreement here. I'm not in favour of anything of that section, part 2. I want this, I don't mind receiving the request, but I'm not prepared to go any further. I want further investigation on the whole deal, the whole project. We know that the existing toilet block is, for many years, it was completely off the radar. The council didn't even know it was there. And it's not in great need, but I am not prepared to move or agree with any funding request at this stage. Everything's hinging and hanging on to the LTP. That in itself, as far as our area is concerned, is diabolical. I'm being trying to be polite here. We've achieved absolutely nothing. Whereas if you look into it further, what is looking like getting over the threshold doesn't make our rate pass very happy. So no, I'm not in favour. I'm getting a lot of criticism. Even late yesterday afternoon, that there isn't a rate pass meeting in Tairua. They made it very plain that they're not happy with it. As many other members in the town got right into me.
Similar criticism from.
I look at over here where the proposed Ian Hopper Memorial Reserve has got nothing allocated to it. So, you know, I am in great sympathy with all the ratepayers. I did send a copy of this. I got a phone call from a crowd in Marlborough to put some other user pay type options around the country. I sent that to Derek Thompson, and he actually replied. He hasn't replied to any of my emails for 2 or 3 years. So that was both out of the blue. But, you know, we can't find funding for the community centre. That's fallen over, and yet there appears to be funds available for this project. So I'm advocating a revisit the whole thing, the upgrade of the existing toilet block, get some lighting into it, make it user friendly, perhaps lock it at night, because it is a dark, dingy thing, and even a coat of paint's not going to improve it. I don't like that. No, I'm just not interested in this money. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I've had to keep it in my ear too, I'm sure Chris has as well. And to be honest, I tend to agree with them. It seems a huge amount of money for 3 pens. I know there's a bit of plumbing work to be done, but it's hard. We can't justify it to our ratepayers. We certainly can't justify it to the ratepayers over this side either. Bob made that pretty clear, and I don't think we're in disagreement at all. It just seems horrendously expensive.
The people using the drain as a toilet, could we stick some signs up there saying they'll be prosecuted if they use it? Because I find that's disgusting myself.
Yeah.
Or something for them to aim at. Sorry about that.
Electric
The
fence.
camera's criticising
Yeah, look, I don't even know what he looked at 3 pans really. Anyway,
There was a note in there about a single pen.
yeah,
but even that's too much.
but perhaps Steve is here. The TIF funding, is there some brackets around what you can do with the TIF funding?
Yeah, so to bring a bit of context, you're talking about the level of service, you mean?
Well, when you attract TIF funding, what are the limitations and what can you not do?
So with the TIF funding, with the agreement with MB, we're under a funding agreement, we need to provide this. So the original TIF application was to upgrade the existing toilets that are there.
Yeah.
Since then, as per the start of the report, there's resolutions been made to, use that funding on a new block. So my understanding is that the existing block is, earmarked to be decommissioned. So we need to provide a like for like in terms of service level requirement. So we couldn't take this, the 275 which we've got now and build a single pan toilet and decommission the old toilets there because we're not providing like for like, service level requirements. So we do have an obligation, if we were to decommission the existing ones, to provide a like for like service level, which would be 3 pan.
Because of the TIF funding, the requirements.
Yeah, that's a requirement of the TIF funding from MB.
Surely 155 grand would upgrade those toilets.
The original proposal from the TIF funding to upgrade those toilets was 275, and that was to be split 155 from TIF and 120 from annual plan. And that's essentially the situation we're in now for budget. We've got the 275.
Yeah, and it sort of seems like a hell of a lot of money.
For 275, what would be done in those existing toilets?
I haven't priced up a renovation option really, so since we've moved ahead with the new option, I can't answer that today.
I mean, those toilets are just like you've got over here, the original ones, a concrete block. Basic toilets, which all need.
They all need upgrading.
Yeah, bulldozers. You can't upgrade them and knock them over. But we know there's no funds. So I just, this seems, as far as I'm concerned, we've got to revisit it. We can't, I'm not accepting.
Right, I agree with that.
I'm sorry.
It's just out of hand. I'd love to know how you justify 475 grand for 3 pans.
Yeah, if I may, through the chair, just to give some context around that pricing, I think it's worth considering that these are, these are commercial public convenience. There's been a lot of talk around, it's easy to compare them to domestic toilets and pricing, which we get a lot of. Comparatively, like a 275. So, for example, so I'm managing the portfolio of TIF toilets for the district. So we've got seven public toilets. For example, we've got a single pan dry vault in Coromandel Town, 225,000. That's just a comparative option, or even in the original application, 275 just for an upgrade. So that's worth considering. So I can say that the request for the budget is in line with the rest of the portfolio. This one isn't an outlier. For a 3 pan public convenience, that's what we're looking at.
When you say that it's comparative, so all the other ones are similar. So is this put out like on GETS, the government tender?
Yeah, so it's worth considering now that we're also pre-procurement. So I can't do too much commenting on in terms of, you know, price and quality baselines and stuff, which we're looking at. But yeah, when we're looking to go to procurement very soon with these, we're procuring them as a portfolio of public toilets. So that's when we get the economy of scale. We're getting, you know, 6 blocks of public toilets rather than just one by one. So they will go on like Gets or Tender Link. They go out to, you know, tender, competitive tender process. And that's when we will assess the price, the quality, the timeline, you know, all those attributes as we do with any public procurement. Also comparatively to the you know, the recently built toilets, the Pepe Reserves, the Whangapaoas, you know, that's all been factored in. That's where the basis of the TIF application, you know, the funding application come from. It's what the recently built toilets run from Peninsula, along with our quality baselines. You know, these things are made out of concrete and stainless steel. It's not a, you know, plywood shadow clad building with a domestic toilet in there. So that's where the information comes from. So hopefully that gives a bit of context around that pricing.
I remember well the construction of the block in the middle of town. And the then board asked for some input on that. We got nothing. We got no input. It was a done deal. And that was nearly $1 million, that thing. It was.
I mean, I've fitted a few stainless steel toilets. They don't take any longer to fit than porcelain ones.
Sure, I guess
they cost more to buy.
Yeah, it's that initial cost. And the thing to consider as well is the, you know, building a more robust toilet, you know, that's why we build these things out of concrete, stainless steel, everything's flushing as much as we can to reduce, so that it's the reduction in the ongoing operational costs from vandalism and vandalism maintenance, which is a big cost in the long term.
A bit like the hot water beach one that I began to camera the drain because it's all too flat.
Anyway, look, and the other problem that I'm getting hit with is the location now. I know the location is not fitting well with some of our residents over there. So, as I say, I need to revisit the whole thing. So we could go on all day about this. I think we're all agreed that we're not happy with the proposal.
Just for the chair work, before you do that, I just propose a question to Steve around if there's any implications with the TIF funding around the decision to delay. Steve might be able to just tell us what the time frame is around TIF funding.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So I guess the risks of a delay. So we're heading into the procurement process now, literally drafting the procurement documents. Like I said, we're procuring them as a portfolio. So if we were to delay, then this project would get, would have to get essentially pulled out of that tender process, be procured separately. That would reduce our buying power, our economy of scale. Have to be, procured and designed separately. Obviously, it would be a timeline delay, pushing it out till whenever we come back to it. And the idea around the TIF funding is that timelines are already fairly tight. The idea around any public funding, like central government funding like that, is if you don't spend it, you lose it really. So it just put a lot of pressure on that timeline from when we have to deliver construction on these toilets. So that would be the risk.
What guarantee is there from central government that this TIF funding is still going to be available?
Well, we've got our funding agreement signed in place, so funding is available.
What about future? Not now, future. If we look at time, 3 years.
Yeah, thanks.
Through the chair, there is no TIF funding that's been signposted after this round.
Yeah.
That was the last round 7, I believe. Yeah.
Can I also just ask through the chair, so is there an opportunity for the TIF funding to be used for the existing, if you could rescope that?
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah, that was the original proposal, is to renovate the existing units.
Yeah, I just feel we've been kind of blindsided by the extra 200,000.
Yeah, that came out of left field. I don't know that.
Yeah, so we're really that because that's something that I think our ratepayers might find a lot more acceptable. and we might find more acceptable, because we do need some toilets down there. There's no argument about that. That alternative proposal, which I know has only just popped up, Warwick, that was a self-funding model. Has council looked at?
Look, what's the timeline here?
For construction.
Yeah, or for alternative, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, we don't want to make a decision today. We want to defer it. We want to revisit this whole concept. So what is the timeline? When we're going to make a change or delete or whatever, when do we have to make a final decision?
I can't give you an exact date, but I mean, like I said, the timelines are very tight in terms of, you know, our project plan already. In terms of a hard timeline, we have to have the TIF money spent and the construction completed by February 2025, which is 12 months since we signed the funding agreement. So that's the hard timeline.
So through the chair, Steve, so would you be able to disconnect this toilet, go and look at the retrofitting option, look at the state of the asset, do a condition inspection, that type of stuff, and turn that around for 6 weeks' time for this next meeting? How would that fit with the rest of the TIF program?
Yeah,
or would it need to be a variation to take that toilet out?
No, that would be fine. The other thing to consider is that if it was a renovation, it would likely be procured outside the portfolio of other toilets anyway, because the likes of Permaloo and Exclude or whoever it may be likely don't do renovations. They would use common fittings, so they might get the pans and the fittings, but the actual renovation job would sit outside. So similar to the Whangataa public convenience, that would be a building contractor really and an architect to design something.
Through the chair, we could go back to MB and ask for an extension to the contract and see if they're favourable to that.
That sits a bit more comfortably.
Yeah, for the chair, I would just say that by disconnecting that project from the overall TIF funding group of projects, there will inherently be risks with that in terms of staff needing to resource it, the project resources to push that along. So just be aware of that. It seems a straightforward renewal or upgrade or whatever it might be, but it wouldn't be with the other body of tendered work. So we need to take that as a separate project.
I'm sure we could come up with a contract on this area.
Look, one of our LTP once was to have a convenience up on the Memorial Reserve up on Paku, where all the tourists park and walk up the hill. I see that far more value than what we're talking about here now. Need some guidance here. We're not in favour of the 200,000, all right? That's very, very obvious.
Through the chair, we've got just a proposed amendment, further decision and request further investigation for funding of the Cory Park Domain public convenience project to feature at the next community board formal meeting.
Do you want to take out the option of the existing?
Well, I guess that can be included in the further investigation, right? Yeah.
All right, so what is this further investigation going to involve? Do we have an on-site meeting? Or do we let staff lead us down the path again?
We need to have a meeting with staff.
Yeah, they've got to come on site and have a look at this thing.
It's very hard to get people over here at the moment. But that might be part of the problem with the one that's down there is the fact that the male toilets, the door is around the back. Well, maybe we can put a door in somewhere else. So it's not quite so out of the way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So, through the chair, we would certainly be able to arrange for a meeting between the project team and the asset team. in,
And the board.
Yeah,
if the board members that wanted to attend, so, yeah, we'll just do that offline.
yeah.
Okay.
What's the ramifications with the football club's lease on that building?
The lease doesn't include the toilet.
No.
The lease does include the toilets,
Okay, but it
The lease only.
includes the old St John's room.
the old St John's room and the garage. So it'll have no effect on their lease at all.
Yeah, well, I'm not happy with that. Would you like, is it, would you like to read that again? All clear?
To defer the decision and requesting the investigation for funding of the Cory Park Domain Public Convenience Project to feature at the next community board formally meeting.
We're happy with it?
Yeah.
There's a motion or? So we'll put that as read. And move in the second, please.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, all in favour?
Right.
Okay. Moving on. Item 3.2, social recovery plan update. Motion being the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the recovery plan update report dated April. Can I get a move in a second, please? Can I move in a second, please?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Who moved and seconded?
Yeah.
Kath, did you move?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Chris second.
Thank you. Sorry, I just want it to be clear for Dossie.
Discussions? Do we have a speaker on
Alan's here.
this? Sorry, Alan.
I've been hiding in the corner.
Where were you?
I was over there in the corner. Good morning.
It just appeared. You got the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning all. I'm Helen Flynn, Community Partnerships Coordinator, and I've been in the role since June, but with Council for a number of years. Some of you might know me from the civil defence space. The Community Partnerships team, which is myself and two social navigators, is a role that's funded through recovery funding. And on top of that, I manage a range of different funds, 1.54 million, to deliver on the social recovery actions. So both the staff and all the projects is completely externally funded from either central government funding or like Lions funding or Red Cross. We put through funding applications for various bits and pieces. So this is just an opportunity to introduce myself and just tell a little bit about the work we've been doing. The social recovery update sheet that's attached is something we produce quarterly and gives you a little bit of an idea. We've already got one change on that, which is an indication of how recovery is very much alive and kicking in our area. It says there we've got 17 red placards and 18 yellow. A couple of weeks ago, we had 2 additional yellow placard properties added. So Department of Conservation had done an engineering assessment on some properties at Thames Coast Road, which necessitated, with the risk to those properties, additional placards being placed. So our team worked with the building team with the placarded property owners, so it's the welfare wraparound. Apart from that, a really big piece of work is the community resilience hubs, which at the end of this we'll have 35 in place around the district, and that's when there's the next emergency event. The likes of the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Response Groups have actually got resources they can use to support their communities.
Just a question about those. I mean, included in it, I know, for example, is the communications equipment. Are you doing ongoing refreshers? The reason I ask is I talked to one of the people and she said, I don't remember how to put the damn thing up.
So yes, there is. There's only 10. The first 10 resilience hubs were the priority ones, and they were given a Starlink, and that's because we were very much aware of the disruption in communications through previous events, and they will be turned on and run through a training exercise on I think 3 times a year basis.
Is there one here in Tairua?
Not Starlink, but the other ones.
Got to start with Tairua.
That's Starlink's time.
That's really helpful in an emergency for Pāuanui.
It's where there's no, it depends on where the fire station is, because fire station, we can communicate. Yes, we can communicate through the fire stations as well. So it's the Starlink, it's easy enough to provide the device. It's the ongoing operating costs that become a burden. We don't want to put anything that comes then to be funded out of council long term.
So you can communicate with the fire station here when all the other communications have come down.
Through fire calls, we do.
Yeah.
Anna?
Yes, I'm also part of the community resilience team, and I went to Etiaha to help pick up the kit.
Yeah.
And I have to applaud your team, and Pam and Kelly have done an amazing job. And not only did everyone gets the basic kit, but every community got the opportunity to pick and choose what they thought they needed additionally. So, and they also explained, Pam, that at the end of this year, Starlink communication will be available through One, I think, or Slack or something. So, no, awesome job. And the other thing they've done specifically for Pāuanui, because last time got cut off, Lake Resort was cut off from us. So they actually established radio contact between the two of them as an additional measure. So really, really impressed with that.
Did the power go from Pāuanui too?
3 days ago.
Okay.
Nothing more from me, thank you.
Any other questions related to social recovery? If not, I move that we receive the recovery plan update report dated. All in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. Thank you very much. Go back to your corner.
I'll go back.
My little fair corner. 3.3, customer service report. The motion being that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the requested service RFS report 1 January 2024 to 1 March 2024. Report dated 14th of March 2024.
I would like just
Adriana?
yes, through the chair, if everyone's meet Adriana Santana, who's our customer services manager.
No. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. My name is Adriana Santamaria. I'm working in TCDC as a customer services manager for about 2 years. The purpose of this meeting, my presentation today, is to give you an overview of the services that my team provides to the community. So we as a customer services, we are the receiving officer for all the queries that the community have for us. So we have different channels for the queries. The channels are the customers who come to every single office for their request by phone, the phones that we receive in our call center, during working hours or after hours, and through emails. So in the first chart, you can see the total number of inbound calls and RFSs load from 1st of January 2024 and 1st of March 2024. So basically, this chart reflects all the inbound calls and the RFSs that we load. Customer services, the goal of customer services is to answer 80% of the calls at the first point of contact. So we have a team of professionals who have extended knowledge across all the TCDC areas. So in total for this period, we received around 2,000 queries. The RFS log were 2,254, and we answer at the first point of contact 7,960 calls. in the next chart how many emails we received from the community. So the total amount of emails was 5,448 emails. So as you can see, probably you have in your cards that if you have any queries, please email customer services or contact customer services. So we transferred some of the emails. Sorry. Sorry.
Gary, you all right, Gary?
Yeah, I'm good as gold. Yeah, well, I think the reason the solid waste keeps featuring because it newly had come in, and I think that will in time drop back down again.
Okay, so can you hear me? Yes. So to continue, and when we receive an email, we see if we have the complete information to answer the email at the first point of contact, or we load an RFS through the email. So there is a large amount of emails that we receive during the week, as you can see. So in the next chart, you can see the front desk foot traffic for January. So in Whangamata community, including Pauanui, so we have 1,732 customers required from this period of time. In total for TCDC, we have 6,589 customers. So because we include January in this report, and it's a peak season for us, so it was very busy for us. So in the next chart, you can see the percentage of front desk foot traffic. In the percentage, normally, Whitianga is 26%, Thames 27%, Whangamata 15%, and AA 23%. As you can see, in the volumes of foot traffic, half of the volumes are in Thames office and in AA services, because AA services have a high volume of queries and demand. We are working with the transport agency to, we have sent a formal request to the transport agency to see if they can establish a permanent services in Whitianga office. This initiative will avoid for the customers have to travel to Thames all the time. So it will improve for the workers who need a special license, for the students who has to travel with their parents to Thames to create their new license. So we are working in this request. At the moment, AA provide a unit service mobile twice a month in Whangamata and Whitianga.
Can you mute, please?
Sorry, if I'm talking too fast, please let me know. So we're waiting for the response of AA agency to see if they can improve these services in a more permanent basis. So in our next chart, you can see this is the breakdown of requests per word. So the total number of RFSs, this is RFSs, only RFSs report. So you can see that is the pattern of the volume is exactly the same as for the foot traffic. So Mercury Bay have the highest low volume of RFSs because includes January. January is the peak season, the holiday peak season. Normally, during the other months of the year, Thames has the highest volume of RFSs. So then we have Thames, Whangamata comes third, and Coromandel Town normally is 10% of the volume in RFSs in total. So in the next chart, you can see the top 5 departments per ward with the highest volume of queries. The top 5 departments for the Whangamata ward was solid waste, and this is due to the solid waste transition that we experienced since August last year. So then we have water services, it include the 3 waters, regulatory, that is dog registration and all of these, parks and reserves, and land information memorandum. Land information is related to the LIMP reports that we get requests. The top 5 departments of queries for Tairua-Pāuanui: solid waste, parks and reserve, regulatory, water services, and land information. And for teams, it's similar: solid waste, water service, regulatory, parks and reserves, and roading. Mercury Bay, the top 5 departments were solid waste, regulatory, parks and reserves, water service, and building services. Coromandel Town is still the same. Solid waste is still in the top. Normally, the queries that we receive for solid waste are regarding the tax. We experienced some kind of queries about the tax being installed, or they didn't attach correctly the tax for the solid waste collection. This is basically in terms of the RFS that we receive now. Due to regarding the feedback that we received from last year, we are running in a project implementation of the RFS. The goal and benefits of this project is to ensure that our customers have a positive experience when dealing with TCDC. So what is the project about? The project about is to ensure that when you load an RFS or any customer load an RFS, as soon the RFS or the task being complete, you will receive an automatic notification by email telling you that your RFS has been complete. Now, at the moment we implemented and we are finished, we expecting to finish this project for parks and reserves this week, and we will move to roading department, to water services, then solid waste, and then is how we planning to implement these notifications across all departments. So the lead time for us to finish this project is expected in July this year. So far we are this week finalizing the project with parks and reserves. So how it will work is this is only one aspect of the project. One aspect is to ensure that as soon the RFS has been complete, you will receive an email with that is an automatic notification letting you know that your RFS has been complete. The second part is an education campaign internally and externally about how to load the RFSs and to ensure that in the RFS is a clear comment of what was the action taken to complete the request for services. As an example, Parks and Reserve receive a query about the tree in the road, the obstacle tree that falling in the road. So then the RFS is the tree has been removed on 8th of April at 9 p.m. So you will receive a notification, your RFS has been complete, and you will be able to call us. So also we will create a clear education to the customers, educational plan to the customers to let them know how to load the RFSs online. So as an attachment of the report, probably you received the attachment, but how the template that you've received will look like. In the template, you will say will be an automatic template. This is the first phase of the project, and the template will say you will receive a template. Thank you for contact for loading your RFS number. When you load an RFS, probably you all have been loading an RFS. You will receive a number, and your RFS has been complete. If you have any additional queries with this RFS, please contact customer services. So contact customer services or email customer services. So do you have any questions for me?
Has there been a breakdown? I noticed the solid waste is the number one right across the district. Has there been a breakdown of the type of RFSs you receive?
Oh, yeah, I can give you an example of the type of RFSs that we receive. We normally receive food scraps that the bins has been damaged. Another type of RFSs that we receive was the tax. The tax has been stolen, or the tax has been, or customers are not happy with the tax systems. They are still not happy. However, at this stage, the queries of solid waste become normal, but for all the years, solid waste from December to January are the highest department because of holidays of non-resident payers. So they don't have knowledge of our transition.
We've had non-resident rate payers for a long time.
Yes, for this reason, all the time and before the transition, for December and January, we have a high volume of queries for solid waste.
Tell me, why is only 2 of these charts got roading mentioned on them?
Because this is temps is just the conditions of the area, what can happen, the query for the.
So how many outstanding RFSs are sitting there? How many requests for service that have been put through are sitting there unresolved?
Oh, look, the current status of the RFSs, the RFSs are built with specific time frames. So I can provide the current status of RFSs for Tairua-Pāuanui, but Rodin have the long lead time of RFSs because it has to be work program. However, if we think about regulatory or solid waste, the time frames are very short. It's kind of one at the same day we resolve the queries. But for Rodin, a lot of program work that it requires the RFS will be open. But in this chart, I didn't provide the current status of the RFS, but it's an information that we can easily provide per department.
Yeah, because one of the frustrations that's been expressed, and I have it myself as well, RFS goes in and then nothing happens. And I've got one sitting, I didn't dig the email out, because it's now over a year since it went in. The work hasn't been done. It's a broken barrier on the side of the footpath going up Paku Hill, got custody during Gabriel. It's not urgent in that it's not so broken that someone's likely to go over, but if somebody hits it, the next time it will go over and there's a hell of a drop. Now, I mean, it's just one example, I know, but how many are there like that? Because I've heard Bob in particular make some real, express some real frustration, and I've had residents where I live over in Pāuanui at Tairua with exactly the same thing. We put it in, it hasn't been done, and nothing's happened. And that's something that if you can find some way of finding out where they are and actually nailing them down, I think that would actually improve your customer satisfaction a lot. And it would certainly make us a lot happier knowing that the jobs have been fixed, because we get the feeling that the request for service goes in and then it just vanishes into some cyberspace and nothing else happens. Your loop being closed will help, but if the loop isn't closed, so yeah. So
to be fair, that I find the likes of the Veolia with their water ones are very good.
They're very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're very good.
Okay.
You find that over here, Bob?
What's that?
The Veolia guys are pretty good out here, right?
The Parks and Reserves.
The riding horse.
So my next question would be if you could provide a breakdown of the Parks and Reserves, because that's been a real hot subject in this area.
So for this reason, because we received some of the feedback that we received was from Parks and Reserve, we've been working actively in this project. They are the first part of our project, Parks and Reserve automatic notification for all the services they provide. This department provides 83 services. So we planning and we are working and just very close to conclude the automatic notifications for Parks and Reserves. So every customer who load an RFS, as soon the RFS has been complete, they will receive the automatic notification and they will be able to contact us and we will let them know the outcome of the RFSs.
Just also through the chair, just say the Parks and Reserves, so they've got, as well as Green by Nature, which is their contractor, they have a lot of subcontractors, and so they have to action the work as well. So
shouldn't be a problem.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that now we're having more customer service meetings with all the different contractors, so that we are making sure that they are providing better information to respond to the RFSs as well. So it's an education campaign to the subcontractors and the contractors about their responses back, so that we're getting better information from them as well out of the field.
So who was Green by Nature?
So they're our main contractor. They used to be called
Yeah,
they're called
same company.
Same company, just rebranded. Yeah, but they remember we also have subcontractors like arborists locally who may do work for us, and through an RFS they have to respond as well. So there's a lot of with some of the contracts, there's a lot of different companies that we're working with.
But if, so, was it Green
Green by Nature.
Green by Nature. So Green by Nature is the contractor, and say it's a tree job and it goes to, I don't know, then Tree Works, arborist. They're going to have to report back to Green by Nature, aren't they? Not direct to council?
So when we load, when let's say you load an RFS, you receive your notification that your RFS has been complete, you call customer services and they will have the note. As soon they complete the RFSs, they will describe what was the action to complete the RFS. So if any further requests about the same RFSs is needs, we will contact you with a field representative from TCP.
But you're right, if Green by Nature is subcontracted, they have to go back to Green by Nature, who then have to come back to us.
Yeah, so it all should come through Green by Nature if it's in that area.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's as Chris said, it's not our problem if the subcontractor doesn't. Green by Nature need to make sure they're up to date. And they need to make sure it's coming back to the RFS people straight away.
100%, but it's also good for the subcontractors to understand the process as well, so we just, extend that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem there, but I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to come from 54 directions, because that's going to be a recipe for a disaster too.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll put the motion that we received the request of service report 1 January 2024 to 1 March 2024, dated 14th of March. In the discussion, have a mover and a second, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, all in favour? Once again, thank you very much, Adriana. Item 3.4, Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board CAPEX Work Programme 2022/23 and other operational information updates. Being that we received the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board CAPEX Work Programme 23/24 and other operational information updates report dated 11th March 24. Move a second, please.
Yeah.
Lorenzo.
No, Glenn. You've got Glenn online. Glenn this time, not Lorenzo. Glenn McIntosh. Sorry, Glenn McIntosh.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, yes. CAPEX.
So yeah, the report speaks for itself. but just really interested in any questions that you have on key projects. I mean, the largest project in there is the public toilets, and we've already had some really good conversation about that this morning and some clear direction on that. So in some respects, because of the earlier resolution in the meeting, what's in here is now a little bit out of date, but yep.
I don't have any comments here. Gentlemen, you got any others comments to make? Billy's done and dusted.
Required.
Yeah, very required seems to be. Well, on the renewals, it's got with initial list generated from asset management database. So where's that list? Can we find that list on online?
Not online. And sorry, which line is that?
Parks and Reserves renewals.
Oh, Parks and Reserves. Okay. So I can dig that out. Typically, what happens is, so the asset database is desktop based, and we use that to size the budget for the year. But then some of the renewals are actually reactive, because just because the database says it's going to fall over doesn't mean it will fall over. So there will usually be a bit of a disconnect between what the computer said we should do versus how things play out during the year for vandalism and things like that. But certainly we can get you the list of assets that were generated from the asset database.
Yeah, I think it just could be helpful to look at what the list is and then compare it with what our communities actually have that need renewing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions on the CAPEX?
Just Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Bob, but I can't allow the public to speak on this. If you get the chance this afternoon, and then you want to bring something in. Well, I think we can put you on that. But this, yeah. Right.
This shows you how much we haven't got.
Yeah. So all in favour, please? Aye. Yes. Carried. 3.5 action schedule. Motion B, the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the action schedule report dated 19th of February 24. Ask to move a second, please.
Yeah.
Any discussion? The action schedule. I noticed there that there's one item there that the action schedule request for report on the contractors.
It says it's coming up at the network meeting this afternoon.
Everything else is closed.
Okay. I'm getting any more discussion on the action schedule?
That the first one, public forum request for repairs on Lake Up Road. RFS requested, but doesn't say what's happened.
RFS has been lodged, so
Has anything been done about
I can look at RFS up there.
I did see something on that website of the councils about that. We have to make hot water. They're working with the developers. But on the Friday, end of the week,
Filling it up with sort of stuff.
Yeah. And
Request for a stop sign at Pepper Road, RFS. Same one again.
that was the council one, to members. Comments there. Okay. Any further discussion on the action schedule?
Hold on, close.
Yeah.
And then anything done there?
Can they add anything to it? Again, that's.
Going out to year 4.
So you're giving an update on that this afternoon?
Yeah. Okay. We've heard a move and a seconder on that motion. All in favour? Yes. 3.6, Chair's report. It's a verbal one because I was on leave, so it didn't get posted. It was a surprise and a pleasure to welcome our CEO Aileen and Mel Connor to our February meeting. Unfortunately, the planned networking meeting scheduled for the afternoon did not eventuate due to some misunderstanding. Currently, everyone's focus is on the long-term plan, and it would be fair to say that both of our communities are concerned and frustrated with the proposed L2P that Council is considering to adopt. I think we all accept that there is much still to be done with regards to the ongoing repairs to roads and infrastructure across the district, but we need to consider all the work involved in consulting our communities. We know nothing got above the so-called line for consideration. We find it rather galling when the aquatic centre and the Willie Angus Esplanade development remain in the community facilities section of the plan. One wonders how small communities such as the Tairua-Pāuanui, who contribute more than a fair share of rates, can achieve their share of the financial cake. Many in our communities are now considered a complete waste of time and energy. How can communities such as ours achieve any meaningful progress in providing better outcomes if council staff continue to stymie our wishes and desires? There is a feeling amongst us here in Tairua that for some years now, councillors and staff alike do not fully understand what communities such as ours are all about. Once again, the fact that we lack direct local representation at the table, it is a telling factor when councillors are debating issues, and in particular for the LTP. In March, I attended the Heritage Group's monthly meeting that was also attended by our Mayor Len. The concerns of the Heritage Committee were aired with a full update on just what has been achieved to date. Mayor Len was briefed on the past and what their goals and aspirations are going forward. I dropped in on a TRA meeting in time to give them a brief summary on what's happening as far as the board goes and the opportunity to answer any questions to the best of my knowledge. I trust that members have availed themselves of the opportunity to submit on the representation review that closed at the end of the last month. I have been informed that we will not have a senior rugby team this season. This is an opportunity to really fill the field and top dress with soil from the stockpile at the skate park ground. I have received a request.
Sorry, I missed it. You cut out. I couldn't quite hear that. Something about not having a senior rugby team, and then you went on. I couldn't hear.
I have been informed that we will not have a senior rugby team for this season. This is an opportunity to really fill the field and top dress with soil from the stockpile at the skate park ground. I have received a request from the Tairua Continuing Care Group for a handicapped car park adjacent to the medical rings to enable the elderly patients, particularly the van coming out of the Karakia, to access the doctor. Today week, 1 p.m, sees the opening of the skate park in Tairua following 30 years of debate and conflict, dissension and division amongst our community. A win for people power over adversity. And hot off the press, my last comment was there's a mounting groundswell of opposition to the proposed new toilet block at the skate park end of Cory Park domain. Can I have a mover and a second?
Yeah.
Any discussion on that? Any comment?
The rugby field one, we're given to understand that as part of the recovery, there was a field care manager or contractor coming to look at it at the rugby field there.
That's right.
And I believe basically all the parks in the area. Is
They're
that
going to give us a report on what we do.
Yes, the Department of Spaces team was getting two specialists done to have a look at all the fields.
Yeah.
So I can follow that up with Derek and get that report.
Because it's thought, now is when it should be being done. We're going to
Have you looked at the field? You tried to have a look at it. It's in terrible state. Terrible state.
Yeah, so I'll follow that up with the Parks and Open Spaces team.
Yeah, because there was didn't the team come around and look at all
Yeah.
the parks some months ago?
Two specialists went round,
Yeah.
sports field, two specialists went round.
So just read that, you crack on the desk.
And yeah, the other comment I just agree with the frustration with LGBT for both their communities. It just seemed like a fat waste of time, and I've had that communicated to me very clearly by many people. Why on earth did we bother when it was just going to all go down the tubes? And that's the kind version of it.
So, in all due respect to our councillors, I still don't think we're well represented.
So can I have a move and a second please to receive my report?
Yep.
Thank you. All in favour?
Right.
Thank you. Item 3.7, public exclusion. Motion being the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board.
Through the chair,
Yes.
you do note that you may have a software update, so we'll have to adjourn the meeting. Can you let everyone online know, because it's just popped up.
Who done?
Shutdown. So it's going to do a shutdown.
Oh.
So everyone online will not be in attendance for the meeting for the public excluded parts. So you might want to adjourn for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
While that happens.
Well,
So-
look, I might leave. I'm in support of what's being proposed in this public excluded matter. So if that's the case, I'll leave and leave it all in your capable hands. Okay.
You can go. What's that? I'll say recess.
Yep, second.
Yeah. It's bad planning.
No, can't stop it.
Can't stop it.
It's all automated, can't stop it, it's just unfortunate.
Okay, so I'm just going to turn this off now.